Despite the historic greatness of these two Halos, the franchise as a whole, Dan and Harold, struggles to put the entire puzzle together to get to the postseason. Now, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about the Halos enjoying one of the best starts in franchise history. Then the wheels came all the way off. Joe Madden gets fired. And there's still a long way to go.
Yep.
But as you two look at and dissect the Angels as constituted, what's the way out in the path to the post?
I've said this for I don't know how many years now, and I still believe it now, even more so. They got to trade Mike Trout. I mean, it's just simple as that. We've gone through this thing. Now it's $500 million on the payroll. They go out and they get Rendon, which I didn't think they needed, but they've never got the consistent pitching. And look, it's time. If you trade Mike Trout, that allows you to have somebody pick up some of that contract. You have to take some of it. You can go get the pitching. You allow Trout to go on to seek his greatness. And what are you going to do with Ohtani? There's no way you can have a $500 million player, a $250 million player, and think you're going to sign Ohtani. I'm sorry. And think you're going to get pitching to win. To me, you have to go back and really re-examine and visit the fact, is it time to move Mike Trout? And I've said this for years. They've not won with the greatest player, and they're not going to. And it's not his fault.
Okay.
It's how the organization is structured with that.
Dan, that is a corner. If I'm an Angel fan hearing this, one, you're probably walking away or throwing something at the television. That's a corner I don't want to be in. Best player of his generation, most talented player the game has ever seen. And you're telling me that we can't make it work with the both of them?
Okay.
Has it?
The draft last year,
no.
the Angels tried to get their need, which was pitching. They drafted nothing but pitchers.
No hitter.
In the 2021 draft. So that's the way they chose to go about it. I look at the Angels right now, and I said this before we came on the air. You have arguably one of the greatest players we've seen since Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, and Mike Trout. We have the new sensation in Shohei Ohtani. We've never seen anybody like him.
Ever.
I don't know if you can handle a payroll that keeps both of these guys. I do know this. This guy, to me, is an entertaining draw because he's a
global.
And he is. And he's a two-way player. I'm with Harold. If I would lean on which way I would more like to go, if I could move Mike Trout, you shed some payroll, and that enables you to keep Ohtani, and then you can build some pieces. If you believe like at their everyday players, like Walsh looks like he's going to be a really good player. You have Anthony Rendon for the next 4 or 5 years. So
is this the 10th year of Trout? It's the 10th year.
Since he was drafted.
Come on, man.
You're talking about 2009
The
draft.
Mariners had Griffey when we never had a 500 season.
Yeah.
And they figured it out. It didn't take 10 years.
So this is an organizational issue that multiple regimes have overseen, right? Front office regimes anyway, where now you're looking back, the problem has been the same for a decade and a half. When was the last homegrown ace that the Angels have had? You got to think on it. Jared Weaver?
Weaver was probably the last
homegrown.
one.
I mean, the last homegrown all-star pitcher they had with Walden. Again, you're having to go back a bit.
You go back to way back machine. Chuck Finley was the guy they delivered.
Now, I took that fan's perspective at the top because, again, you can't fathom considering moving him. But you feel like the organization has backed itself into a corner where you have to consider it now. You have the 8th highest payroll in the game right now. There's a ton of money coming off the books after this season. Right? Noah Syndergaard was a 1-year contract. Justin Upton designated for assignment. So there's going to be some flexibility, but it's a top-heavy roster is what you're getting at. Because you're going to have 3 players who are going to be at least $250 million.
Well,
in total.
the other thing is, let's be fair to Mike Trout. He's done everything he's supposed to do there.
Everything.
And then some. And I know he's getting paid a lot of money, but he would have got that anywhere else.
He wants to be there.
Yeah, publicly. You know, what's he going to say? I want a chance to win a title.
He wants to win on the postseason.
Okay.
No doubt.
For the sport to have Mike Trout not in the playoffs, where I sit on and watch our air today and had a couple people say, yeah, but when he's supposed to perform, he hasn't. Excuse me? You know, what's he supposed to do in this last 2-week run where he's scuffled? That it falls on Mike Trout in a 2-week run, this team is not going to win with Mike Trout. It's not happening.
The problem I see,
fair to Mike.
Steven,
Trade
let's
Mike.
just say you could
Free
move
Mike
Trout.
Free Mike.
If you could move Mike Trout, a team that's going to take on the salary that comes with it, they're not going to take on that salary. Then they're going to give you, hey, take the 3 minor leaguers, take any of the 3 guys you want. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to take on that contract. They're going to be like, okay, we'll give you something back, but we're going to eat this money.
So you're not getting equal value unless you value payroll flexibility as something. But you're looking at 4 MVPs, 3-1, 3 postseason games between
you are getting back equal value. They're either going to take all the money, all right?
Come on, to replace him on the roster, you're not. You're just not. So then, but here's the thing: do you trust an organization that hasn't been able to build a winner to spend the money that you're not flexible?
Maybe you're Perry Manasian, who hadn't had that opportunity. He's been headstrong by that. You don't know. And whoever was before that has had $300 million. Mike didn't just all of a sudden go from 100 to 500. They've added every time. So my point is that, yes, if I trade Mike Trout, I'm getting one of 2 things. I want top prospects, and you're taking the money, or I'm going to eat money, and I want something back, right? So you're going to get something back for him. I just think that it is a hard thing to say or do for any sport when you're looking at the star player to say you're going to move it. But you know what people come out and watch? They watch championship teams. I'm sorry. But I don't hear the Yankees crying about 98 anymore, the way they're playing ball today. You know, they're comparing them to the 98 team. You win by teams win. Teams draw people. And that's what people come out to see. I just think that the Angels have not been able to win. Artie has done an amazing job of spending money. He's spent money. But it hasn't worked for them to win. So the Angels are who are going to win.
So you can't see having both of these guys at the same time, or do you? I don't know how you get 500 and probably 400.
It starts
300.
It starts with a 4.
Right? You're talking almost $1 billion in two players.
Right. I know. You don't want to be that top heavy. I get that. That's a tough question for any front office to consider.
And at the end of the day,
I don't envy being in the shoes to have to consider
they may trade Trout and work it out and not sign him. There's no guarantee he's coming back. A free agent means a free agent. Sure. And this guy's going to run it all the way to the end because he came here to be a free agent. Let's see what happens.
And the arrow for value is like vertical.
Yeah.
It's going.
Let me show you what I can do.